Hello guys, so I've got all my little pieces laid out here, ready to make my bow bag charm. So I'm just going to show you what I'm using. I've chosen this lovely pink fabric because this matches my little girl's bag. This is her bag that she wants me to make her a little bow charm for. It's like her little mermaid shell handbag. She's only 7, bless her, but she loves her girly things. And I got these from eBay, these little fluffy bows. They're already cut into shape, and I'm going to use the pink. They had all different colours, but I'm using obviously the pink to go with my fabrics. So I'm using one of those. I've got these key ring. They've sort of got a key ring here, but they've got the clip as well that you can clip onto your bag, and they're easy to get on and off. So I've got a load of these from AliExpress also. I just searched for keyring clips or something like that, and you'll get loads come up. You can get them in golds, silver obviously, you can get them in a darker silver, all different colours available in those. So we've got one of those to use. I'll just set that aside. And then I've got these are jewellery making pieces. I got these from the jewellery making section in my local craft store. I think these were called pins with eyes, I can't remember. I'll have to find out, and I'll perhaps put a link below in the description if I find out what these are actually called. But yeah, I've got a little bag of these. You'll find out what we'll use these for nearer the time. And also these little connecting rings for jewellery making as well, just little silver rings. They are, let me take measure. Each ring is around 5mm. Around 1/2 centimetre these little rings are. So I've got a bag with loads of these in as well, so we're going to be using one of those. We'll just set those aside. I'm going to be using Gorilla Super Glue Gel just to hold the tab around the centre. You'll see that nearer the time we get to it. This is a nice strong gel, and you want a nice strong glue for when you're working with your bow bag charms. I've got tweezers and a lighter, I've got a pen, I've got my scissors, and I've got some needles, and I've got my bow template. I'm using this bow template today because I'm making a smaller bow. Ben is for my little girl. The actual template is around 13 centimetres. This is just the secondary part, and that is 10.5 centimetres, and the tails, which are the sort of finished size of the bow roughly, is 7 centimetres or almost 3 inches. So that's the size of the bow, will be the width of the tails. That will be the widest part. So this is the template I'm using today. You can use any template you prefer. So first of all, I'm using this for the centre of the bow, and I'm also using it for the tails. So I'm going to take my tail piece and my pen, and I'm going to draw around the tails onto the back of my fabric. And when I cut these out, I always cut around the inside of the pen line. Right, so I've actually cut out 2 tails and a little strip for the centre. I've cut it around 5.5 centimetres in length, just rough guide. I probably won't need all that, but just a rough guide. I've cut that out as well. Right, next I'm going to draw around this part of the bow. They actually come obviously in 2 separate parts, but I'm going to try and draw around them both together. So I want to cut that out as a whole piece. That's just how I prefer to do it. Rather than cutting out this piece and then this piece, you end up wasting quite a lot of fabric. So I'm going to try and draw around it. Sorry about all the kids outside. It's been another gorgeous warm day, so they're all making the most of it. So I'm just lining that up. So you don't have to use a template like this one. You can use just a normal basic sort of dolly bow template. I'm going to draw around this part first, as far as it goes. Just mark a little bit up these sides. Then I'm going to remove this piece because we've done that. So this is the shape we've got. Now we've cut it out. I'm going to start by making this part of the bow. To do that, you pop some glue on these pointy bits and you bring them into the centre. Just overlap them slightly. Do the same with the opposite side. And then we bring these two pieces into the centre. So this is the top of the bow in this particular bow shape. You can use it this way round, but if you use it this way round, you need a double-sided fabric because you can see through the inside. So this is the way I like to use it. So next we're going to stick it onto our tails. Leave bits of glue. So I'm just going to pop some glue on that middle part of my tails. And line that up. And then taking my fluffy part of the bow, I'm going to stick that on the top. I just like the idea of the fluffy part because at the moment quite a lot of girls like having the pom-pom charms hanging on the bag, and I thought this was like a fluffy bow alternative to the pom-pom. So this is what we've got now. So that's actually most part of the bow finished. It's just now a matter of attaching our keyring. You want to take your centre strip. I'm just going to work out roughly that fit all the way around, which that does. So around that part here, I'm going to take, sorry about the noise outside, I'm going to take a needle and in the centre here, I'm going to push this needle through and then I'm just going to give that a little wiggle to make that hole a little bit bigger. And then next, taking your little circle piece and your little pin with the eye, we're going to, taking a pair of tweezers, open up that join like that, and I'm going to hook it around that piece here, and I'm also going to pop it onto our key ring. We're going to bring those sides back together. You're probably better off using some proper pliers, but I don't have any proper jewellery making pliers, which is why I'm just using tweezers for now. I'm just bringing these ends together because you don't want that to end up coming apart. So I'm just making sure that those ends are nice and firm together, like that. So this is what we've got now. So pushing the pin through the top, the pattern side or the glitter side, whichever you're using. In my case, through the mirror side. I'm going to push that through, and then that is then ready to go around your bow. Now we want this part to be now obviously at the top of the bow. So my bow obviously can go either way up because there's no pattern or images on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that over the top of my bow like this. This is going to be across the centre. So flip that over. And then this piece I want to fold under the hair bow. So again, I'm going to use my tweezers and I'm going to fold that right down under my bow, underneath this top layer, so it's not going to prick anything. And then we're going to stick this piece down using hot glue. And then this bottom piece, we're going to stick that up, but this time I'm going to use my Gorilla Super Glue Gel because that will hold this shiny fabric, that will hold that together better than the hot glue. So I'm just going to remove the lid off there. There it comes. And I'm just going to bring that over. Hold that in place to make sure. I just use the tweezers to begin with because I didn't want to super glue my fingers. That's fine. So that is what it looks like on the keyring. As you can see, instead of having, like when I used to make these, I used to wrap the centre around this part, and that used to sort of sit stiffly like that, and there was sort of a bulk in the centre piece, and with all the pulling this used to come loose quite easily and just sort of go out of shape. But with this method, that's in there really tight because that's all wrapped around under the fabric. It's out of the way, you can't see it, so it's not going to prick anyone as long as you make sure you get that curled right round and under. And this part I'm going to use on the underside just to give that a nice finish. So I'm going to stick that across there like that, because you can obviously see all the back of this piece. So I'm going to start off with putting glue in the centre. I'm just going to line that up. And then I can place the rest of the glue on the outside. So that will be the underside, which you shouldn't see much of anyway, but just in case that does sort of spin around and you get a glimpse of the underside, you haven't got that plain fabric showing. And that's the top half. I'll show you what it looks like on my little girl's bag. I'll just move that out of the way. So here's my little girl's lovely shell mermaid handbag. And this is her new handbag charm. So you can clip it onto the zip if you like. But obviously just be aware that with it being on the strip, that will take, on the zip, sorry, that will take a lot more tugging and pulling. So I'm gonna pop it on this chain part of her handle for her. And that will just sit there like that. So that is how I make my bow bag charms. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you've got any questions, pop them into the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.